Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the Hop Pull podcast. Nearly said the old name. I'm your host, Adam Steele, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Liam Wright.
Hello.
As you can see, I'm not in my usual home office today. I am at the studio, which is a really nice plus for me. Hopefully everything's sounding good and looking good. I say
Sounds good to
hopefully
me.
because, yeah, good stuff. You're hearing a separate thing to what they're hearing, though, so hopefully it's all working out. Hope everybody in chat is doing well. I've been filming a lot today, which is why I'm here. I've just filmed a large part of my Rev G120 video. I just did a little 20-minute soapbox rant about gain staging. Did the intro to a video for a thing called Lyric Studio. It's been a hell of a day. So there's lots to talk about, including lovely signal boosters, stuff from Dunlop, clever cables, clever patching, new pedals from UA, and Behringer Corner. Let's see if the intro works. Seems to be going well so far. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I am all about GameStop at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a crazy few days. Indeed.
Yeah?
Oh, have you not been keeping up with the news?
Oh, yeah. Did you invest in GameStop then? Because I saw the whole crazy Wall Street bets thing.
Yeah, it's basically, we won't go too much into it because this isn't the place for it, but it's essentially David versus Goliath. People versus the hedge funds is very interesting. So I see it more as a donation to a cause than to a making some money, but who knows? It's really, really fascinating. There's never been more of a roller coaster kind of thriller around the stock market before. I think it's fascinaking. So
the thing that really amused me is all the news articles from the Wall Street bankers saying, "Oh, they're hacking and yeah, exactly."
It's people whose parents lost their homes in 2008, being like, you know what? With all the information that's now available on the internet, we've realized that you guys have cocked up, and we're going to make you. We're going to take advantage of that and play you at your own game. Like, no, that's not fair. Yeah, it is. It's just been fascinating.
Absolutely,
so we shall see what happens.
Fascinating. Have you got involved? Have you got some skin in the game? Because I found out.
I do, but more as a donation than anything. I'm happy to lose it if I lose it. But
cool. I mean, that's the thing is, I think what counts now is actually you make more of a donation if you sell them as well, because of the way that the shorting system works. They are obliged to buy it off you.
Yeah, but not. Yeah, this is the thing. It's all about. So we don't go too much into it because it's not the place for it. But you've got to wait for the squeeze, basically, to the point where they're forced to sell them. There's still it's shorted over 130%, which means there's more shares shorted than are actually available. So at some point, the price will go through the roof, and then it's every man for himself at that point.
Yeah.
But until that point, you want to hold for as long as possible.
Hold.
But this isn't financial advice.
No, absolutely not.
We don't have a clue what we're talking about in reality, but I think it's just fascinating. David versus Goliath stories, I'm always like to be on the right side of history. So
YouTube is telling me you need to change the video resolution. The current resolution is 4K, which if you want to watch in 4K, by the way, the expected resolution is 1440p. It's like, well, no.
That's still pretty cool.
Yeah, still pretty cool.
And that's the thing, because you're at the studio, you can stream in whatever resolution you want with higher speeds.
I wonder if Skype, because me and Liam are talking over Skype, I wonder if Skype is actually just sending the video on our local network.
I don't know, but I can see you in real time, which is nice, and nothing looks blocky, so...
Fantastic. We have the bandwidth for it. We have the technology. We can rebuild him, make him stronger.
To the moon!
To the moon! Oh man, what a week it's been for me. I've been busier than usual, which is busy as a busy thing. Busy as a cat. That's not very busy. Busy as a cat trying to take a dump. Still not very busy. As busy as a cat trying to take a dump on concrete. There you go. Sorry, it's a 12-foot ninja reference. Shall we check out the news?
Let's check out the news.
The news. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So, these really caught my eye. You must have seen those like signal boosters, the cloud lifters, and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So this caught my eye. Tierra Audio are making these flavors. These are all signal boosters. They're all different. They are all massively different from each other, which really caught my interest. So some of them do more gain boosting than others, but some of them do like the first one. They're all flavors. The first one's called Truffle. Does 32 dB of gain boost, which I think is a bit more than a cloud lifter, with germanium diode harmonic saturation.
Yes, that.
Yeah, I don't quite know what that means in tone terms, but apparently it's going to sound a little nicer. The Cocoa has a 45 dB gain boost with a mid-focused EQ curve and analog de-essing.
Ooh, that could be nice.
Yeah. So, like, your preamp doesn't have to do any of the work. Very nice. There's
very
Mint.
nice.
Yeah, Mint with a 33 dB gain boost, so a bit less, with a bright EQ curve and soft, even harmonic distortion. So if your microphone's a little dark, you might want that one. There's Chili, with 51 dB of gain boost, with crisp harmonic distortion. Crisp.
Yes.
Spicy. I would imagine that one, the red one right there, is for if you've got a super quiet source and you really want to bring something out of it. Very cool. Vanilla, 28 dB gain boost, so the quietest of the lot, makes sense with the name, with a mid-range hump and harmonic distortion with slow transient response, which means it's going to make things sound thicker and fatter. Pepper, which has a 33 dB gain boost with soft distortion applied to high signal peaks, so it's kind of, it's going to distort a bit if you blast it. And Salt with 39 dB boost and 39 dB goose and no coloration. So a really interesting looking range there. I'm gonna have to see if I can get hold of these guys, because that sounds really as an interesting kind of Swiss Army knife toolkit right there.
Oh, yeah, because you use these sorts of things, don't you?
I actually don't, but I keep thinking about getting stuff like this.
Oh, because I remember you talking about signal boosters and stuff quite a bit. I thought you had one.
Oh yeah. Oh, I did actually. I had one from a company called Marty Audio. It broke, which was a shame. But it was kind of like a barrel one. It wasn't a big fat one.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I remember talking about like a boutique place that you. Got one from.
I got it like handmade. I think it was in Italy. It was kind of cool, but then it broke to the point where it still kind of worked, but it really let in all the like noise, electrical noise. So everything would be like, it wasn't ideal. But yeah, these look much more solidly built than that, and these look like they're done on a production run. Now this is an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, which already makes me a little twitchy, but apparently it's already reached its target. Early bird prices, if this sounds cool to you, are available until January 31st, so for the next 3 days. So the early bird price for a single one is €119, so not the cheapest.
No.
But I think that's still cheaper than the cloud lifter things. And all 7 flavors comes in at €833, which actually, if I think about it, is just 7 times that number. I think. But yeah, I will get in contact with them, see if I can play around with some of these, because some of these, like the Cocoa particularly, with mid-focused EQ curve and analog de-essing, sounds really nice. That sounds like something I could do with an SM7B and one of them, and very little processing.
You can get a cloud lifter. It's somewhere between £150 and £300.
Wow.
Okay. DVE have them for $143.
Right. So, and this is in euros, so you're probably looking at 130, 140 quid by the time you pay the import and all that kind of stuff.
So about the same price as the CL1.
Yeah, that sounds quite reasonable then. The CL1, of course, it's analogous to this one, Salt, which is like no coloration and a straight gain boost. Which, if you've got, preamps that you like the sound of, but if you drive them too hot, they just hiss and don't sound great, that could be why. Yeah, I'm sat right next to my lovely new preamps that are getting a little bit warm, which I'm not actually using at the moment because of the podcast setup, but I have been using them in filming today. My Drama 1960, so good. I'm very, very happy with it. Sounds clean as a whistle, and then you smash the compressor and it just levels things out. So good. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I want some of these, and I might check them out. I've got a massive collection of microphones now. Why not have some of these to go with? So, moving on. Waves NX Ocean Way Nashville plugin promises pro headphone mixing.
Okay.
So in the past, Waves have done Abbey Road 3 as a plugin. So Abbey Road Studio 3 is quite a well-known place. And of course, Waves have been working with Abbey Road for a long time. And now they've come out with Ocean Way. And Ocean Way are famous for their live room and for their ridiculous, I mean truly ridiculous microphone locker. I'm talking a room where it's like a museum. Not so well known for their control room. I mean, I'm not saying the control room's bad. That's not what I'm saying, but why this place? I mean, they must have had some sort of deal in place. So the reviews for the Abbey Road one of this are mixed, shall we say. Some people think they're the best thing ever, some people not so much. And I think now that the Slate virtual headphones have come out, the VSX, I'm inclined to go with the Slate offering because, again, outside of the Slate Facebook group, where it's obviously going to be biased, the results claim that the Slate one is far better. And I think the main reason here is that these can be used with any headphones, which for me is a bit of a red flag. Right. And yeah, because, I mean, if you've ever seen Sonarworks that corrects for headphones, that kind of thing, unless you get your headphones individually calibrated, there's a big kind of variance as to where your headphones could actually be accurate or not. Which, if you're just listening to headphones, meh, so what? But when you're doing this kind of like clever binaural stuff, it has a big bearing on it. And in fact, Slate have already gone through 2 versions of their software now to like iterate and improve to make sure the binaural thing of you being in the room is better and better as their understanding of human hearing gets deeper, because of course it's their first product doing that, and some of the feedback has been, this doesn't work for me. And what's fascinating about that is that Slate went, okay, did the research, and it turns out that certain people have a different ear profile that doesn't work with the whole binaural thing unless you adjust a certain frequency. And when you do that, magic, works again.
Right.
Thought it was very clever. So now it's got like profile 1, profile 2 button that fixes it. But yeah, the other kind of thing in here, which I think is a bit of a gimmick, is the Waves NX head tracker, which weirds me out a little bit. Either you stick a little thing on top of your headphones, or now apparently it can use a webcam and watch your face for when your head moves. And when your head moves, it moves the pan of the sound. So if you've got a console in front of you, you move your head and it's still there. So you do that, and yeah, which sounds cool, but I don't like the idea of that.
No, it's try and give you a feeling that you've got monitors in front of you rather than headphones on.
Yes, which I see the appeal, I see the point of it. I don't like the idea of that. I wear headphones when I wear headphones, and I accept that I'm wearing headphones, and whenever I close my eyes, the speakers on the VSX are in front of me. If I turn my head, the speakers are still in front of me. That's what I want, because I don't want to be made dizzy by the thing. Because when I'm mixing, I quite often look around because I've got 2 screens, I'm streaming, I'm talking to people. If the thing doesn't perfectly keep up with me and it's trying to track my head, that's going to make me feel motion sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that myself.
No, Benjin chat says he tried the Waves one. He's also got the Slate stuff, and the Slate wins hands down. And that's using Sennheiser HD 800s, which are incredibly nice, expensive headphones. Like, they make the HD 600s and 650s that we've got look like toys. And yeah, apparently, even with the Wave stuff, it's not as good as the Slate VSX. So there you go.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's cheap if you want to try it. $35 US.
Oh.
Yeah, if you don't want to shell out the $400 and odd it is for the VSX, maybe that's worth trying to see what the whole idea is about, see if it works for you. I mean, especially since the whole lockdown thing in a lot of countries is still in effect and we're all, working from home. That's me dropping my new drill bit that's drum key shaped. That's saved me hours of time already. Getting off topic. If you're stuck at home rather than in a professional monitoring environment, this kind of thing could probably actually help you a lot. I used to mix on headphones without a room modeling, and with Sonarworks to correct it, it got me a lot of the way, but I would still relentlessly have to check all my mixes in the car, on stereos, all that kind of, the traditional check, because headphones as they stand, they're missing a certain something, but I could still get 90% of the way there. With the room modeling thing, because I can change the room, I can actually listen to a car mix or a room, club mix or whatever, and certain things stand out to me that I would have had to physically go to the place to hear. And therefore, without spending the 2 or 3 hours going to different places to listen and make notes, I can change all the things, click back to the original and go, still sounds good on the original monitoring system I was listening on, but the problems are all gone. Print, send. And then when I print and send, the clients usually come back with, this is fantastic. And yeah, if you're working from home, check this kind of thing out, because at $35, that might just do what you need it to based on what I was saying there.
Fair enough.
Moving on.
That was interesting.
Yeah. Fender Japan, who make some very cool instruments, have just created a blistering new Telecaster model for Miyavi. Now, if my mate Chris is in chat, and he probably is, if not, he'll have missed the article and he'll be annoyed, but never mind. Miyavi is one of his favourite guitarists. Miyavi does this kind of poppy, slappy thing on the guitar, and it's really aggressive, poppy, slappy kind of stuff. And he's really, really good, and it's really cool. And yeah, now Fender Japan have made him this, which looks like some sort of blade pickup there, a mid pickup, and a Seymour Duncan mini Telecaster bridge. And it looks like the bridge is the traditional 3 brass saddle, which is the thing from the 80s and before, but with a whammy bar on. What?
Okay.
How? Okay, I've never seen that before.
No.
Because yeah, the whole thing about the 3 saddle thing was that it sounded great, but they were a pig to keep intonated. Yeah, and so with the whammy as well. I mean, yeah, Bommel just said in chat that for a long time he used the Taylor T5 kind of electroacoustic guitar. And yeah, Poo Ninja says the mini switches look like they're in an odd place. I wonder if that's because Miyavi does a lot of picking with his fingers. They're kind of easy reach.
Yeah.
Because, you very much have to keep in mind with signature guitars and working guitarists that it's not all about how it looks. Quite often it can be about accessibility and, putting switches where they would look right but are a pain to get to. No good. Especially if you're making a signature guitar, you go, these would be good here, so they go here. And yeah, you don't think any more of it. Now, let's see. So, the bridge is the Seymour Duncan Little 59. The middle is the pure vintage 65 grey bottom. And the sustain. Oh, it's a sustainer. Right, so there's there's a sustainer driver pickup in the neck, which is one of those where you hold a note and you click it and it goes and can just kind of go forever. Sustainers are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole kind of Matt Bellamy from Muse kind of widdly one hand thing.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. Maverick Super V tremolo system. So yeah, never seen that before. But we'll have to watch for what Miyavi does with it, because he is a very, very good guitarist, and yeah, he'll be doing a lot of stuff. Oh, price to be confirmed.
Ooh.
It's exclusive to Japan, but if you know enough people in Japan, you might be able to get one shipped. So yeah, there you go. Now, Dunlop debuts a double inductor custom badass crybaby wah.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means it's got two different sounds in it, kind of like a wah wah and a wee wee.
Okay.
I've actually seen there's a guy I know, Paul Flatley from Flatley Pedals, who makes a custom wah that actually uses two. The inductor is the thing that makes the wah wah sound. That's the actual bit inside. The pedal just rotates the pot, and the inside bit, the inductor, is the bit that goes wah 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 wah. And different types have different sounds, which is why some wahs sound a bit more reserved, some sound a bit more aggressive, some end up going higher, some end up going lower with a more throaty sound. It's that bit. So it looks like there's a switch on the side, and it actually has two completely different methods in, one called a phasal and one called a halo.
Okay.
Which are two of the widely accepted different wah methods.
Mm-hmm.
And the same pedal can switch between them, which is interesting. And yeah, so it seems like the article says exactly what I was saying. So yeah, the phasal is more like traditional, like Jimi Hendrix, and the halo wah is a bit more like Kirk Hammett, Metallica, kind of Donald Duck, kind of all the wah kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, $200. It does raise the question, with two types of wah inside it, you're probably going to find one you like and stick with it. So why don't you look through the range, find the one you like, and stick with that simple one? But whatever works for you, I guess. I've got an Ibanez Weeping Demon over there, which is Ibanez's version, and I'll just grab that. Oh, it's the size of a chihuahua, and there we go. This has got like knobs and switches, and this can be anything you want it to be. But it's also just like, it's a very celebrated wah in the metal world because it just rips your face off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also got a spring in it and can be a bass wah, so I love it. It lived on my baseboard for a little while, and now it's in the studio because I don't tour anymore. So there you go. If you really, really want this, Dunlop are now selling it, go get it. So, next, these are little cables that got my imagination going somewhat. So these are patch cables for Eurorack, so little cables for synthesizers.
Mm-hmm.
And if the voltage is going one way, the LED in the end lights up red. If the voltage is going the other way, it lights up green.
Mm-hmm.
So if you plug the wrong thing into the wrong thing, you know exactly, like, straight away, because it lights up in the wrong colour. So I thought that was really clever, that it's actually part of the cable that either goes yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if you plug that into like an audio bit, if it's going to kind of alternate between red and green and make some really funky looking kind of stuff. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Ooh. I think it's a neat little thing, and they're probably not that expensive to make either. But yeah, apparently the voltage that comes out the end is not the same as when in the front. Not a big deal for modulation purposes, but might be bad for signals that require precision, just as like pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It might be worth sticking things that aren't supposed to go in places in other places and see if you like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing about modular synthesis is like, how does this sound? No. How does this sound? Wow. Yes, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, there you go. Voltage doesn't move, that's current. Yes, very funny. But yeah, a pack of 5. Oh, €19.90 for a pack of 5. So €4 each if you buy a pack.
Okay.
That's quite a reasonable price for these funky little things that would also make your synth rack look so much cooler because everything lights up. Yeah, I like things that light up. So, moving on. Midify gives us a glimpse into the Matrix.
Okay.
This thing makes my brain hurt just looking at it.
What does it do?
It looks like kind of an Ableton Live controller type thing.
Right.
Do you remember the Tenorion?
I don't believe I do.
Oh, hello. That's coming out of the system. Right. So, it's running a sequencer right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's got another one of the controls as well. And you can see the red sweeping across, and whenever it hits a green, it does whatever the green says.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it's kind of tactile way of changing things. So yeah, the Tenorion used to do this back when that was new. And I just think it's a really funky kind of thing that just looking at it makes my brain hurt. Oh boy. So including the sequencer is available as a kit. It's €1,200. Oh, that's way too much.
Why?
But it is a serious handmade like hardware thing for synth nerds.
Well, why?
Why what?
Why? Why that? Why would you buy one?
I guess if you really, really were into like live electronica and controlling the sequences as they go, this is definitely one of the more efficient ways of doing that. So I keep dropping that bloody drum key. Yeah, it would be one of the quickest ways to manipulate a live performance if you do something like, I don't know, psytrance or techno or something like that. It's a key troller, as Poo Ninja says, which is quite accurate, I guess. So yeah, if you want one of them, that's what it is and that's what it does. Probably the highlight of the guitar news for the week for a lot of people is Universal Audio have released uafx, the guitar pedal line, with 3 new stomp boxes. And yes, UA, who are famously known for either the 1176 compressor and the LA2A compressor, or they're known for UAD, the Universal Audio digital stuff, which everybody knows I'm not a big fan of. But they've ported that digital stuff because, honestly, they are actually really good at that. They're really good at getting digital sounds to sound really good. And they've packaged it into guitar pedals. So there is the Astra modulation machine, so all you wibbly wobbly choruses and flanges and stuff. The golden reverberator, which is what it says, it's reverb. There we go, hiccup. I had a kebab earlier. Whoa, excuse me, everybody. And the Starlight Echo Station. So all your delay, ping-pongy, ding-dong kind of stuff. There. And yeah, I don't think these are going to be cheap. I wonder if these are going to have like clever hidden functions and stuff. But we'll see very soon if they sound really impressive. Because they've also got the Apollo interfaces and the aux box. If anyone's seen the aux box, it's kind of a big, expensive load box that you can stick on top of your amp. That's twice the price of the 2-notes captor. And Luna, which is their answer to Pro Tools. Why? But anyway, each pedal has 2 modes: simple, live, and preset, which make them easy to use, apparently. UA says you'll be able to download additional effects in future. That's interesting, that you'll be able to update them. I think that could be a killer feature right there.
Why is that?
Because if a pedal does a certain thing and you like it but you get bored of it, The fact that you can then just stick a USB cable in the side and make it do other new cool stuff means that maybe you'll like it again.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Being able to add different functionality to pedals like this definitely adds value to the proposition for me. Tone print style, like Poo Ninja says. I have a few TC Electronics pedals, not loads, but a few, and the ones that I have, I generally don't tend to like their default kind of settings. But there's a thing on all of them called tone print. And tone print, oh, hang on, this is all coming together in my mind. Tone print is where you can add different algorithms that you can download from TC's website. Now, the mastermind behind that, this is what's just come together in my head. The mastermind behind that was a man called Tor. And Tor left TC and now works at Universal Audio. Now, that struck me as really odd because I met Tor at NAMM this time last year and he'd just left UA and I was like, what are you doing working for these guys? And he couldn't say. And I will bet anything this is him. This is his doing. So the guy who made the TC Electronics lines famous again, I guess, all the tone print stuff, has got to be the man behind these. And yeah, there's a lot of clever technology gone into these. Now, they're not cheap, as people have said in chat. They're about £300 each. So Strymon pricing, which Strymon are the big boys of the pedal world. If you're going crazy, you buy the Strymon pedals. They're expensive, and kind of all the blues lawyers buy them, and then serious touring musicians buy them because they can do a million things in a single pedal and do them all well. But yeah, these could be a similar kind of thing. Oh, looking at the back, so they are all in stereo. That's a good start because I was wondering about that. It says 2/stereo. So I wonder if you can have these do two things at once rather than run it in stereo.
Okay. That could be cool.
Clever. Yeah, and if you've got a switching system, you could run 1 into 2. So, yeah. And of course, USB hidden cheekily down below the power input, which UA have not done anything silly. They've used typical 9 volt, same as every other FX pedal. So yeah, clever of them to do that because that means you're not having to try and find, extra expensive power supplies just to make them work.
No.
Which is always good. You don't want to have to spend more money. Yeah, $400 each, so not cheap. So, it's Andy from Reverb. Here's my clean tone. And yeah, I'll be listening to these later to see if these really catch my ear, especially the reverb. If there's a spring reverb, yeah. So there's a spring reverb in here, and there was a JHS Pedals live video. I think it was yesterday, where one of my internet friends, Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum, was on the JHS show, and it was all about spring reverb. And so Ryan does this he does clean surf rock tones. That's what he does. Just that big 60s spring reverb kind of think, Surfing USA, think 60s, think clean, think Beach Boys. That. And apparently spring reverb, there's a thing that's called drip. And apparently it's really hard to model a spring reverb. And I've said this for years, but getting it to sound absolutely right is a gargantuan task. But if they've done it, good on them. Because, yeah, there's a weird thing with spring reverb where if you hit a real spring reverb, it kind of goes boing, but it does it in the same note as the noise you put in. That's really hard to replicate. So, yeah. Oh, yes. It'll be buggy for years, the amount of times their customer support has said it should work, but we can't guarantee. That's looking at our chat there and reading that back. We'll see how that goes. But, yeah. looking forward to hearing how these work. So let's move on. Black Rooster Audio. So Black Rooster Audio are a pretty cool software developing house, and they have now come out with their version of the old EMT 140 plate reverb.
Right.
I've said over and over and over that's my favorite reverb in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The EMT 140. If I could afford one, and if we could hire 10 people to lift it down the stairs, and I had somewhere to put it, then I would have one of these. But the real one weighs 272 kilos.
Ah.
Yeah, they've not made them for at least 50 years, and they cost probably as much as a house. But they're the best. Yeah. So, yeah, if you've got infinite money, you can get a real one. If not, you're probably going with modeling, and I am going with modeling. So, yeah, I've been using the one from Arturia for a long time, which is their, well, I think it's just called Rev 140 plate, or Rev Plate 140, and it's really, really good and really, really accurate. I am quite obsessive about the 140 plate. It's my favourite reverb sound. And so I can tell pretty quickly when a designer has got it wrong, you know. And I'm looking forward to this because Black Rooster Audio very much know what they're doing. And there's a few things you can do with a real reverb. You can slam it and it kind of rings in a certain way that's really hard to replicate. And have we talked about how plate reverbs work before?
Possibly not.
Right, so just to break it down for everyone who doesn't know what a plate reverb actually is, it's really simple in design, but also really hard to get right. You suspend a giant metal plate, literally a plate, and you put what is essentially a speaker in the middle and a microphone at the end, which sounds really simple. It's not so simple because it's not actually a speaker in the middle. It's kind of like a transducer that makes the metal rumble, and it's not a microphone on the other side. It's like pickups, like pizzo pickup kind of thing.
Right. Well, what do you do once you've done that?
You send sound through the transducer in the middle, and you pick it up at the edges.
Right.
And there's your reverb.
How do you then apply that to a sound?
So you have a mixing desk in the next room, and you send sound out of the mixing desk towards the transducer in the middle, and then when it comes out of the transceivers, that comes back into mixing desk.
Oh wait, so you're not talking about. So if it's a plate reverb, it actually has to be a physical huge thing to be a real plate reverb. Otherwise, it's simulation.
Yes, exactly. Right. Exactly that, which is why there are not many real plate reverbs, because that's why it weighs 272 kilos. Not only is it a massive, big piece of metal that's hung, but also to adjust the reverb time, it's got like kind of big cushions that it squeezes onto it and lets go. So the more the cushion squeezes onto it, the shorter the reverb is. Yeah, so if you see on here it says damper, that's that. It's literally a damping like cushion. And yeah, crazy how these used to work. And these are stuff from like, if you know stuff from Motown, all the classic Motown stuff that's drenched in reverb, it's one of them. And it's just absolutely killed. Yeah, there's you just absolutely hammer the thing. It looks like they've gone a little further and added some funky new features here, because like the low, medium, and high on here, pretty sure they weren't on the original plate reverb. But if you were sending it back into a mixing desk, the mixing desk would have been able to handle that. There's a bass cut, which again I don't think was on the original, but I think you could just do that from the mixing desk if you wanted. There's a pre-delay, which I'm almost definitely sure didn't exist at the time. Size, small and large, pretty sure you just had one size. And dry and wet was again a mixing desk thing. You just kind of more reverb, less reverb with the desk. And that's about it. And then, yeah, if you pushed the transducer in the middle of the plate reverb really hard, it would start to saturate and distort. So you'd actually get a saturated reverb. Although I'm not sure how long you could do that for before the thing in the Plate Reverb gave up and started smoking and caught fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's just real practical things, you know. There's only so far you can push stuff before it goes, nope. And yeah, oh my word. But if this sounds any good, I will be very, very excited to try it. But yeah, the sound of these was that good. That's why, like what you were saying before, every reverb unit that's like a multi-reverb unit always has like a plate setting these days.
Yeah.
Because it was that good that all the other reverbs were like, I want to do that. And 99% of the time, they didn't end up getting anywhere close, but some of the best ones ended up with something that sounded really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the same, but it sounded nice, and I think that's cool. That's fair. Like some of the Lexicon reverbs from the 80s that are world famous for being the go-to reverbs in the 80s, their plate settings were world standards. Sounded nothing like a plate, but they sounded like a Lexicon unit that sounded good. And yeah, there you go. So yeah, 59 euros. Okay, so that's another kind of game changer. The Arturia one is $99. Oh, so they're not too different, because 59 euros is probably what, $70?
Round about there. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, it actually converts it here. So $71 for the Rooster one and $99 for Arturia. And Soundtoys do one as well. Now, Soundtoys Plate Reverb, I'm not that fussed about, but Soundtoys delay the Echo Boy. I love that. But that's a topic for another thing, really. So, yeah, maybe I should do a quick shootout between the two at some point. It's another thing to add to the ever-growing list. Oh, boy. Everything just goes on the list. But, yeah, Eduardo in chat saying, yeah, I should do a back-to-back. And yeah, that can go on the list behind everything ever. Today on eBay, I just won a vintage SM57. Actually, it's a Shure 545, which is kind of like pre-SM57. So I've now got that. I've got a lot of boxes behind me, actually. I'll show everyone in chat. No, I'll leave it until after Behringer Corner. Behringer Corner. Dead Behringer Corner. So, the RD9 is very nearly ready to go. So this is, their take on the Roland 909. And, people have been moaning about this not being ready yet. But it's taken a while, probably partly because of COVID and partly because of everything else. Not seen an official price yet, but it'll probably be around the $350 mark because that's what the RD8 was at. So yeah, it's pitch control of the kick drum and hi-hat tuning, all that kind of stuff is available on the front. Very cool if you like drum machines and you're not absolutely anti-Behringer. So, Behringer again reveals the Pro 800.
Okay.
So,
another clone.
Another clone.
Behringer have never cloned any devices before, as far as I'm aware, have they?
Never, ever, ever. They've really been ripping into Sequential Circuits recently. Dave Smith from Sequential Circuits. Was it last week or the week before where I talked about Sequential Circuits had taken over the Oberheim OBX license name so that Behringer couldn't have it. Because Tom Oberheim from Oberheim and Dave Smith from Sequential Circuits, very good friends. And Behringer have probably seen this as an act of war and made a declaration of war. And that is, this basically copies one of the Sequential Circuits profits without the keyboard and with extra voices. Now, if I wasn't a mad Arturia software nerd and did it all in software, which I should show you my lovely Keylab 88 at some point, but I'll leave that for a minute. They have gone the hardware route, and if you want to go the hardware route, these are looking pretty cool. Again, if it wasn't for the whole Behringer thing, I would very much want one of these. So yeah, there you go. Oh,
Very
Pazman
cool.
says, I still use my SM58 from 1985. Your SM58 is very young there, my friend. The 545 I'm getting is at least 15 years older than that. I think. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So yeah, that's Behringer Corner. They're looking at doing these for under $600, which for a little box sounds like a lot, but there's going to be a lot of tech packed in there. So there you go. That's the end of Behringer Corner, and that's the end of the news.
The news. Behringer news.
The news.
Like Behringer Clone Wars, we should call it.
The Clone Wars. Yes, quite. There we go. Yeah, so that's what I was going to grab. I'm on a very long headphone cable, so let's just see if I can grab all these at once. I'm probably going to juggle something here. So my drum kit is currently set up, and it has 2 modded SM57s on it right now, which I got transformers from TAB Funkin' Work in America, and I modded them both. So now they both have really nice transformers in. And that got me thinking, I've only got modded 57s. How would it sound up against a stock one? So here we have a stock SM57.
Mm-hmm.
That has never even come out of the box. So I'm going to get that, because I only got this last week. I'm going to compare this to the modded ones. And that got me thinking. How does that compare to, like, the clones? So here's a Stag SM57 clone.
Okay.
So I got that. And that got me thinking. Ages ago, I got an SM57 clone from a company called Pile in America. And looking at it, the seals are still sealed on this. So I never got this out of the box either. And that got me thinking. What does the Behringer equivalent sound like? Behringer Corner. And that's why I've just ordered that vintage SM57, or at least the 545, which is by all accounts what used to be before the SM57. And that also got me thinking, I got this, the Pile PD Mic 1, otherwise known as the Pile of Crap. And I'm just curious now, I'm going to throw that in the mix. How close does that sound or not sound to the other models? So, I've got the crazy Celestian video to do, but once that's done, I'm going to use a very similar setup and probably the same sound clips to save time, and just use one speaker and just stick each microphone in front of it one at a time and just run them all through and see just how terrible each one sounds or how good it sounds, and be able to compare them and either say, look, they all sound the same, or look, they all sound different, and see if we can find something fairly conclusive about it. I've never been the biggest fan of the SM57. Not that it's a bad mic. Where is the Toman one? I tried ordering one. They are sold out and will be sold out for 6 weeks. However, John Brown has one, and if I can convince him to borrow his, then I'll have one of them.
Fair enough.
So yeah, literally every cheap one and every real one I could get hold of.
Can you find 57 of them, though?
Oh my word. Hello, live sound company that isn't touring at the moment. Do you have
57 different versions.
Oh God. I wouldn't even want to. I mean,
what about maybe you've probably almost got 5 to 7, so you can make the video 5 to 7 SM57s compared.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 to 7 SM57s. Yes. Well, that sounds like a good intro, but terrible for SEO. So I'll probably just have that as the video video title screen rather than the actual YouTube title. Yes, I like that. But yeah, that's one of my many things. As of yesterday, I now have all of the video and DI playthroughs from all of my star guitarists for that Celestian video. So, really getting excited for that. The next thing I have to do is find some time to sit down and make a Reaper project that is horrendously complex. so that I can reliably get all of these in. Get all of the speakers recorded over and over and over and over and over, and that's gonna suck. But yeah, that's gonna take some setup, and actually, let's put all these down. Goodbye! The next part of show and tell today is that one of the things I'll be using in that video is this. This is my Rev Generator 120 Mark III.
Nice.
It's amazing. I've just been doing a little bit of a playthrough with it, and it sounds incredible. Absolutely fantastic it sounds. And so I am really, really excited to be using that more. I think I'm going to be using that one for John Brown and Glenn Fricker's parts.
Mm-hmm.
Time for a lav mic, yeah. Yeah, just bear with me 15 minutes while I set up a lav mic. Yeah, it's funny with the shotgun mic. I only literally went. It's a super wide angle camera. From here, I'm 6 inches away. That's it. But by being off axis, it sounds really weird. Whereas if I come back to here, yes, yeah. So yes, I have got John Brown's playthrough for me now. So yeah, I now have, drum roll please, Ross Campbell, the Bulletproof guitarist, Henning Pauly, I have Jack Gardner, I have Jamie Humphreys, I have John Brown, and I have Glenn Fricker, and they are all with me and ready. So, yes. And I have all the amps that I need as well, because I've got the Fender Twin, I've got the 78 Marshall, I've got the Rev, which is probably going to do 3 of them. And I've also got a JCM 800 Studio, which I'm probably going to use for Jamie Humphreys, because that's a 20-watt Marshall that I can crank, and hopefully none of the speakers will set on fire. Because, of course, Marshalls always sound great when you turn them up to 10, but some of these speakers are like 15-watt speakers, and it's a 100-watt amp. If I turn that all the way up to 10... No. Yeah. I mean... I talked to Celestian years ago, and they said that like you can probably run, and they were quite confident you could run a 100-watt amp pretty loud through a 25-watt speaker for a short amount of time for like a 1-minute demo, and that would be fine.
Yeah.
But when you go down to the 15-watt speaker, yeah, maybe not, because that's just kind of taking it a little too far. And that's the blue speaker, the Alnico Blue. That's like the original speaker. That's the one that Brian May uses. And that's also the one that Brian May, when he plays, and he plays loud, he only uses a 30-watt amp with 2 speakers. But it's a Vox, so it's not really 30 watts, it's a lot more than that. But quite often they will actually have a speaker die in the middle of a show, and they'll have to switch the whole amp out. So if they're doing that on a regular basis, I don't want to put 100 watts through it. No. Whereas when I've got a 20-watt amp, 20 watts through a 15-watt speaker for a short amount of time, I think will be fine. If I was to do a 3-hour show with that, I would probably guarantee to blow that up. But a 60-second segment, not so much. A lot of people don't understand, actually, that the wattage rating on a speaker is just like a safeguard. It's like a safety thing. You can run more than the wattage it says on it into things for a short time, because it's all about how hot they get. If it gets hot, it melts or it catches fire. If it doesn't get hot, no problem. And it only gets hot by doing that thing that you're doing for a long time. So yeah, that's why a lot of Celestian speakers now, people are looking at like these neodymium speakers that are the same size as the old ones, and looking at the old one, 15 watts, the new one, 250 watts, and they're like, I don't understand, this is voodoo. And it's like science, they've changed the way they work so that as the sound is blasting, it actually sucks air in and cools it down. It's very clever. Yeah, I've got one of the Neo Copper backs, and if you look closely at the back, it's got a little kind of grill on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as it gets loud, it actually sucks cold air into the speaker. And yeah, cools it down so it's not going to catch fire. Very clever. Indeed. Any questions in chat, everybody? Because now's a good time. Yeah, it's going to be another busy week for me. Oh boy. Yeah, so tonight I'm finishing this video for Lyric Studio. They reached out to me last week, which was really cool. I hadn't really heard of Lyric Studio before, and they're not sponsoring this video, but I talked to them. They're really nice people. It's a little company. And yeah, funnily enough, most people on the channel, unless you've been an absolutely devoted follower of the channel, you probably won't have seen me singing original material on the channel. I think I did for one video, maybe two. Problem is, I'm not very good at writing lyrics. Because it's all a bit arty-farty, and kind of I stare at a blank page and I'm like, ugh! It's like, what do you do? Don't know. Right, oh well, give up. Let's do something else. So, yeah, with Lyric Studio, it gives you a load of ideas, and if you pick one, it gives you a load of ideas to bounce off that, and you can, if you don't like it, you can either hit try again, or you can change what they've got so it works, and bang, 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 bang. Yeah, there you go. David Imrie, dual amps in bias to get big clean sounds. Do you think feeding the dry amps into a wall of sound with plenty of room same offers anything above just feeding bias into a convolution reverb? Dual amps isn't really a thing for getting big clean sounds, honestly. It makes for a different sound, but the best thing is just use the same amp and just play it twice. Or yeah, there are a few options. But yeah, David, Joe Bonamassa puts a tiny delay in between the amps. Yeah, so if there's only one of you and you need it to be wider, that's why Two Notes with their new technology, they've got a thing called Twin Tracker. It's basically like a 10 to 20 millisecond delay on one side, but it constantly shifts. So it's a little bit later, a little bit sooner, a little bit later, so that it sounds like two guitarists and not just a static thing. Because if you've got just a slight delay, that can cause problems of its own that sound like... Yeah. And yeah, Morningtown Ride, no, that was not original. Morningtown Ride was a song by the Seekers from the mid-60s. And that was part of Glenn Fricker's Oldies But Baddies competition back before we knew each other. Where the thing was, find the worst song you could find and do a metal cover of it. And they were an Australian band that did a kind of a weird country and western song. And I turned it into a metal song. But yeah, that is not one of mine. There was just one where I did some vocals over a variation of the main theme tune, which I can't even remember now. But yeah, I just made that one up on the spot. But what helped there is I was trying to demo microphones in a certain space, and I needed vocal lyrics, and I needed them now. So I just went, and just scribbled something out. And on reflection, it's not something that I'm particularly happy with to release as like a release. But it was fine for the video it was in because it was just a placeholder to demonstrate a certain point, which is fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a writing partner when it comes to lyrics, and I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting to do this thing and see where it gets me. So David says, yeah, panning 2 amps sounds more spacey than just one. That's because you have 2 ears and you are in the space those amps are in. Doing that with virtual amps doesn't work because in the end, the 2 amps are perfectly time coincident. What your ears are hearing is actually sound bouncing off several walls. you can do that with like a mid-side set of room microphones, but that actually sounds way more diffuse and doesn't have the clarity of the original guitar in it. Although it's perfectly tryable. Do it. See what happens. See if you like it. Let me know. Been saying that to people a lot recently. People have been asking questions on a lot of the YouTube videos with, should I do this or should I do that? And my general answer is, do it. See if you like it. There's no wrong answer a lot of the time. There's a lot of explanation as to why things happen. And when someone asks me in the comments, why does this happen? I'm much more equipped to give people a definitive answer. But people are asking me, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you're exactly after, but try it and see if it's what you were after. If not, come back and tell me why it wasn't what you were after, and we'll try and whittle it down a bit. In fact, the best questions are the ones where you can give as much lead in as possible. If you can say, I like this, I have this, I'm trying to achieve this, but it doesn't sound right because of this. That gives me enough information to go, ha, what you're missing is that. Try this. But if you just go, what's the best guitar tone? I'm like, I don't know. I know what my favourite guitar tones are, but you might try them and say they're terrible, in which case you then say that I don't know what I'm talking about, because in your context, I probably didn't. So Poo Ninja says, been trying to dual track rhythm perfectly and I'm supposed to be just a bit off. It feels phasey. Well, thing about actual real human guitarists is you are supposed to try and track the rhythm perfectly, and it will never be perfect because physics. But those small, subtle variations are enough to give it that big, massive guitar thing. Because, yeah, us humans, we try and be right on the beat, and we never are. Not consistently from beat to beat to beat to beat, anyway. And I'm talking like a millisecond or two, and the way the pick strikes the string slightly differently, and those small little things are enough to make a dual-tracked rhythm guitar sound huge. Don't try and be off with your rhythm guitar. Do try and be on, but just accept that because of physics and reasons, you probably won't be perfect. And actually, if you listen to the best guitarists in the world's double tracks, they sound exact. But you run that separate isolated track through something like Pro Tools or Reaper, and if you look really closely, you'll see very slight variations. And those very slight variations are just enough that it sounds huge. And yeah, because those variations like push and pull on a microsecond basis, that's what makes for that big 3D sound. Which is why if you just copy and paste a track and just paste it a little bit later, it kind of sounds like that, but it doesn't quite sound right. But that's where stuff like Two Notes' Twin Tracker, the one that they've put later, it constantly is moving between being a little bit even later and a little bit closer. And yeah, there's like an algorithm to move it round. It doesn't sound quite as good as having two guitar parts. But if there's only one of you and you need it now, it's the next best thing. Yeah. Where's Darling says, I've been using Voice Meter as a software mixer. What are some other options? That's one of those questions like I was talking about before. What is it that you're trying to achieve? If Voice Meter doesn't do enough for you, get Voice Meter Banana. If Voice Meter Banana doesn't do enough for you, get Voice Meter Potato, which is like the big boy version.
I have a potato.
You have the potato. Are you still enjoying the potato?
No, I've stopped using it because of the Go XLR. It's better for what I need.
Right. But yeah, I mean, if you need anything more than that, you probably want something like Reaper and then send all the sound through that. That's actually what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to move the camera. There we go. Keep moving, camera. Keep moving. There we go. So those 4 screens over there, that is the stream PC that I'm actually broadcasting from right now. and the bottom left one has Reaper on it. And the voiceover from this shotgun mic goes all the way around the room to there, and then is processed as I want it. But then also the audio from the mix PC goes in, and it's a quite clever routing, so that whenever I speak, it cuts out the whenever I play the track, it cuts out the vocal, but separately into OBS saves the that without the ducking, so that if it turns out that I accidentally pressed play when I was trying to say something important, I can still actually edit and rescue it in the video edit. So yeah, there you go. Voice meter potato or banana or whatever is really, really useful for sending audio to different places. And in fact, when I'm at home doing the podcast from home, I use voice meter banana then, because it does what I need in that circumstance. It just sends the audio from the right place to the right place. I'd like to learn that routing patching. Have you got a video? Unfortunately not. I never got round to it. It's still quite a new setup, that, and I'm actually thinking of actually ditching that because I've learned since that now in OBS I can actually do all of this without Reaper. So in OBS I can actually have a compressor that's the sidechain from the sound from this. So I'm probably going to do that, because then that means that I don't need an extra piece of software running. The more I can do all-in-one solutions, the more robust it is. Because, when one program conflicts with another, never good.
No.
But no. If that's all the questions for this week, then, thanks for watching. And as David says, if it sounds good, it's because physics and reasons.
Physics and reasons, I like it.
Yeah, because reasons and because physics. So, yes, thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to get back to work because I've got lots to do before I leave this evening. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.
Wicked. Bye, everyone.
Yes. See you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. That might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Hop Hole Studios. See you there.